Hi everyone, I hope that you guys are doing perfectly fine. Today we'll be having suffixes from the grade 8. I'll share my screen and then we can start. So first you have to log in using the aplusstudent.com. So after you log in, you click on your name. Then we move on to language arts and grade 8 suffix. So we have some suffix here and we will try to complete these lessons for suffix, okay? Okay, so our first lesson will be words with full. Okay, so first we need to know what suffix mean. Okay, so what are suffix? So suffix can be added to the end of a base word to create a new word. Okay, so usually suffix are added to the end of the base word to create what? A new word. So we will have the base word. The base word is the like original word, okay? And when we add suffix at the end, it forms like a different, okay? Forms a different new word. Knowing the meaning of a suffix can help you determine the meaning of a word. So if you know the meaning of the suffix, it will help you like determine, okay, what's the meaning of this word, or you can know what this word is all about. So we have the suffix full. Ful means having, showing, or cursing. So if you're having something, if you're showing something or cursing something, that is when you use the suffix full. Okay, and full is added to the base word, okay, of that. Okay, so which is considered to be respectful? Now, if you see respect is a base word and full comes at the end of the respect, okay? So it becomes respectful. So now the correct answer is waiting your turn in line, which is considered to be respectful. So if you are trying to make something respectful, you have to, wait for your turn in line, and that makes it respectful. Okay, then which is considered to be who is a less successful writer? So we have the base word, which is success, and then after the success we have the full, which becomes successful. Okay, the correct answer is someone who cannot get any books published. So let's see, who is a less successful writer? Someone who cannot get any books published. Yeah. So if the person cannot get a book published, that means the person is a less successful writer. So we also have which is a more thoughtful way to make a decision. So we have thoughtful. So thoughtful is already a word, that's a base word, right? So we also have full at the end, which makes it thoughtful. All right, so it makes it thoughtful. So writing on the odds, the pros and cons is like a very thoughtful way to, like, help people or something. Then why might someone be boastful? So we ask ourselves, why is someone boastful? Maybe someone is boastful because he's proud, they have a lot of pride. That's what makes them boastful. Okay? So let's see. Then we also have which is less wasteful? Which is less wasteful? Now we ask ourselves which one is less wasteful, right? So reusing something. If you want to reuse something, that is a way or an act of showing that you're not wasting something. So you're less wasteful. Okay? So if you had an eventful day, how might you describe it? So event is already a base word. So we have eventful. So if you had an eventful day, you would say it was exciting. Okay? All right, so let's move on to the test. Okay, so we have which why might attacks be stressful? So why can attacks be stressful? Now attacks can be stressful if you do it like in a rush. So if it's like urgent, then it becomes like very stressful for you. So which gymnast is more graceful? Which gymnast is more graceful? One who looks awkward while performing difficult move, one who looks at ease while performing difficult moves. So if one is graceful, that means like okay, they perform like difficult moves, but they look very like perfect in it. Okay. Which performance is more likely to be described as artful, which is most likely to be described as artful? So an amateur violinist or professional violinist? So it's gonna be a professional because it's showing like artful. This person is too like into the art. So yeah. So how does a dutiful student do his homework? Carelessly or thoroughly? Which is the best? So a dutifully student will do their homework what? Thoroughly. Then which might be described as frightful. What is frightful? Fright is like when you feel a lot of fear. So which one is frightful? It has to be which one? A haunted house, a gingerbread house. So what do you guys think? A gingerbread house is what? Beautiful, it's not scary, but then frightful will be a haunted house. If you want to go into a haunted house, then that's very scary. Okay. Then which is considered to be respectful? We had this in our tutorial. Waiting your turn in line, cutting in front of someone in line. If you cut in front of someone in line, that is just plain rude. Okay, so if you wait for your turn, then you're respectful. Who has a more forceful personality? Who has a more forceful personality? Is it a bossy person or a timid person? So we have to check. Is it the bossy or timid? Timid is like someone that is not outspoken. So that person will be more like into themselves. So it has to be a bossy person. So which are more likely to feel doubtful about? Which are you more likely to feel doubtful? When you're doubtful, it's like, oh, you don't have you're not courageous, you don't trust something. So when it's doubtful, it's going to be a story that seems accurate, a story that seems exaggerated. So when something is like exaggerated, you tend to want to like, okay, doubt a little bit, because when someone exaggerates something, then it's like suspicious. So yeah. If you had an eventful day, how might you describe it? So how might you describe an eventful day? Is it boring or exciting? So it will be exciting. Then we also have which is a more thoughtful way to make a decision? Is it writing out the pros and cons or making a random choice? So which would be better? Are you just gonna make a random choice, or you would write down the good and the bad first? So pros and cons first. So which when is it more important to be truthful? When is it very important that you are truthful? When you are writing a short story or when you're under oath in a courtroom? So which is better? It should be under oath in a courtroom. So why might somebody give you a tearful goodbye? Why might someone give you a tearful goodbye? It has to be because you have planned to see each other again tomorrow, because you won't see each other again for a long time. So, what makes them give you a tearful goodbye? It has to be because you won't see each other again for a long time. Okay? Which experience is less likely to be described as delightful? A day at the beach or a trip to the dentist? Less likely. So that means like not so, delightful. It has to be a trip to the dentist. Okay. So who is a less successful writer? Someone who has published many popular books or someone who cannot get any books published? So it has to be what? Less successful is like someone who cannot get any books published. Okay? Mm-hmm. Who is heedful of danger? Someone who is reckless or someone who is cautious? What would you say? Is it a cautious person or reckless? So if you're heedful, you're very cautious. Okay. All right. Then, how would you feel after a restful day? Recharged or exhausted? So, you would feel more what? Recharged or exhausted? Recharged. Okay. So, if you had a restful day, you feel more recharged, like more energized, more ready to face another day. Okay. So, we have some more questions left, and you can try to complete those questions. If you do not understand, you can, watch this video again. And if you've done it before, then that's also fine. Okay, so let's move on to the next lesson. We'll do the first two lessons, and then in the next one, we'll complete like the last lesson. Okay, words with less. This is what we'll be doing. So suffix can be added to the end of a base word to create a new word. Of course, we know that. That's what we did in the first, first lesson, first unit, and we know that suffix is like at the end. Okay, so knowing the meaning of a suffix can help you determine the meaning. Of course, if you don't know the meaning of the suffix, it's like, okay, how can you understand that? Okay, so the suffix less means without. Whenever you see less, it means without. Okay, so anything that is less, it is without. So let's go on with the questions and then see. Just note that it is without. Okay, if a pack of gum is marked as sugarless, which might you expect to be one of the ingredients? Is it artificial sweetener or what? So when something is sugarless, means without sugar, obviously there's no sugar there. So it is artificial sweetener. Like it's like sweetener that's artificial. Okay, so without. Why might you make a careless mistake in your work? So what could make you have a careless mistake? It's gonna be what? Because you aren't paying attention. So if you're not paying attention, there's every possibility that you would make a mistake. Okay? Then who would be called a tireless champion of the poor? So who will be called that? Someone who has done many things to help the poor. So a tireless champion of the poor. That's someone like who constantly helps the poor people. Okay? So let's look at some more examples. When would a surface be spotless? When would a surface be spotless? You know that we said anything with less means like without. So if it's spotless, it is what? When it has been just clean. So when it has just been cleaned, it's going to be spotless because, oh, there's no spots. It's very, very clean. Okay. Which is meaningless, a random string of words. So when you say meaningless, it's like somebody is something that has no meaning, that is just random, just talking. Who would order a meatless dish at a restaurant? Who will order a meatless dish at a restaurant? It has to be what? Who will that be? It will be what? A vegetarian. Yes, vegetarians do not eat meat, so they will order like meatless, like that. Okay, so let's move on to our test now. So, which is harmless? A wasp or a butterfly? Which one? Harm is like something that will not happen to you. It will not harm you. So it has to be butterfly. Butterflies are harmless. Okay. Okay. So, what is a restless person most likely to do? Wiggle around or sit still? If someone is restless, they would not still, they would wiggle around, keep turning and turning. That means they are uncomfortable. So, wiggle around. So, what would a humorless person be likely to appreciate? What will a humorless person be likely to appreciate? So it will be what? Someone that is humorless will be likely to will not appreciate like a good joke, a good sense of humor. Okay? How do you feel after a sleepless night? Well rested or exhausted? So if you are sleepless, how would you feel? You would be exhausted. So when might you feel helpless? When can someone feel helpless? It will be what? When you have the power to change things or when you have no power to change things. When will you be restless? Okay? When is that? So when you have no power to change things, obviously you feel so restless and frustrated, You're like, oh my God, what can I do? Not happy, you know. Then who would order a meatless dish at? Is it a meat lover or vegetarian? Someone who like orders a food without meat. It has to be what? A vegetarian. So, why might you describe a software program as useless? What will make you describe a software program as useless? Because it doesn't do what you want it to do, or because it helps you solve a problem. So, if it's useless, that means it doesn't help you do what you want to do. Okay? What is a fearless person like? What is a fearless person like? Brave or afraid? A fearless person will be what? Brave. So if someone is fearless, they will be brave. Okay? So, what is weightless? A light or a light bulb? So, which of these is weightless? Is it a light or a light bulb? So, for example, you click on a light bulb and it's wrong. You have to just scroll under and then you would see the correction as to why. So, if you go down here, light is weightless, not a light bulb. Okay. Who would be called a tireless champion of the poor? Someone who has done many things to help the poor, someone who has done a few things. So, someone who has done a lot to help the poor would be called um, okay. How might a thoughtless comment make someone feel? If the comment is thoughtless, obviously you're gonna feel what? Offended. Okay? Offended because it is thoughtless. What might fix a flavorless sauce? Adding spice or adding what? Adding spice or adding water. So if the sauce is flavorless, you have to what? Add water to it. Okay, and then it's gonna feel better. Okay, so you add spice. If you add water, it's gonna make it flavorless. If a pack of gum is marked as sugarless, which might you expect it to be? The artificial sweetener. It will not be sugar because it's sugarless, so no sugar. Who is jobless? Someone who has just been hired or someone who has just quit her job. So if someone is jobless, it's because they just quit their job. Okay. Who has timeless beauty? The Mona Lisa or the latest fashion? What would you say it's like the timeless beauty? So you say the Mona Lisa. Okay. What might you use to fill out a paperless survey? Is it gonna be a computer or a pen? Paperless. No paper. So a computer because it says paperless. Okay. Which is less likely to be described as tasteless? Which is less likely to be described as tasteless? Is it orange juice or water? Which is less likely to be described as tasteless? Orange juice. Because water is the one without taste. Okay? Which would be what less in a store? Play money or actual money? What less in a store? It has to be what? The play money. because it has no value, it is worthless. Why might you make a careless mistake in your work? It would have to be when you aren't paying attention. Because if you're paying attention, you will not make a mistake. If someone is left speechless by a performance, what is she likely to do? Immediately start talking about it or admire it in silence. So when you're left like speechless, you're like, oh my God. You admire it in silence without talking. Okay? Who might you describe as penniless? Someone who's trying to expand a business or someone who has no way of paying off her debt. So if someone is penniless, they cannot pay off their debts. Okay? So you have some more questions to answer. So you can try to answer them if you've not done this lesson. And if you've done it, then it's okay. You can just let it go. But if you've not done it, you have to try to complete the lesson. Okay. And if you do not understand, you can just watch this all over from the beginning again. And then you can complete the lesson. But before we finish, you have some time. You can ask questions, ask any questions you have. If you have any questions, you can ask any questions. Ask any question that you have. You can ask your question. So you can ask any question if you have them. So you can ask your question. You can ask any question that you have. If you have a question, you ask before we finish for today. Let's see. Oh, hi, Kelvin. I guess you have no question, right? Okay. So, guys, if you have no question, we will end here for today, and then we will see you in the next lesson. Do have a great night and see you soon. Bye, guys.